Welcome back to the Backwards History Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Will, here with my co-host, Kevin. Say hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Shut up, Kevin.
I don't think that's going to catch on.
Catching something? Catching something. That's what you're going to go with on this episode?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, what we are talking about, which you probably guess, considering what's going on in the world. I was going to say in the country, but in the world.
It's the world.
COVID-19. The coronavirus. Sounds like something you'd call in with on like May 6th after too much corona the night before. Like, sorry, boss, I can't come in. Caught the coronavirus. But we wanted to talk about, well, the history of coronaviruses.
Mm-hmm. It's not the first one.
Right. But also other historic
epidemics,
pandemics, whatever.
Plagues.
So I guess to get us all started, let's talk about the history of pandemics.
Yeah, right. That sounds like my cue to hop in here.
Exactly.
Now, for our dedicated listeners, big thank you for that. You will recall our earlier episode about where we talked about the Black Death, the bubonic plague.
I think we talked about that in Disastrously Ever After.
I believe you're right. But just to kind of give you a quick recap on that. That happened in Europe in the 14th century where a plague came in and swept through the population. Now, it killed, as many historians are starting to understand, probably about a third of the population, which is a lot of people. And going on from that, one of the reasons that plague was so effective, pardon the pun, or the terminology there.
Yeah, it's not really a pun.
Right. It's just terrible hygiene at that time. Just absolutely awful. Hygiene did not exist as we understand it today. So that's why the Black Death was so just uncontrollable and spread like wildfire. Now, another pandemic, if you will, or another virus did a number on the population, and that would be smallpox. That's one I think all history classes in college and high school at some point cover very briefly, but I don't think people realize just how impactful that particular disease was when it was introduced to the New World, to the native population who had zero immunity. We're talking a 90% estimated kill rate. Can you imagine 90% of the population gone in just a matter of a decade or two?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a pandemic. People are freaking out about 2%.
What people our age, I think all of us, our parents had a little, basically like a dimple in their arm from where they got the smallpox vaccine with the little auto gun or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And it put a little like crater in their arm.
And I've been seeing a lot on like Facebook and other social media outlets about, I haven't heard a lot of those anti-vaxxers in a while. What they're up to.
Yeah, ever since this started, I've heard nothing about anti-vax.
I mean, it's like zero. It's like, maybe they got a point. Maybe vaccines are okay.
Right. Which I'm kind of on the fence on that because I could see some of their logic.
I can certainly understand like the concern and the lack of understanding.
And I can see the medical logic of it. Mm-hmm. But you never know who's really telling you the truth because a lot of truth is only true, air quotes, true, because of the money that was behind the information.
Right. And there's a long history of, well, I'm going to say it's true because the check cleared kind of thing.
Exactly.
Now, the last pandemic I want to talk about is one that's actually very recent, at least in historian mindset. When we say recent, we say within the last century or so. That'd be the Spanish flu. Now, for those of you who are like big Twilight fans or dudes who got drugged to the movie theater every time that movie came out.
Yeah.
That's what main character Edward, that's what he was dying from when he was turned into a vampire. It's actually very historically accurate. During the early 1900s, we had World War I, and where we start to have people from all over the world, namely Americans going over to fight in Europe and other parts of the world, and they're exposed to viruses they've never really encountered, and it comes back with them. You have a large group of people go over there, have a large group come back, and they didn't come back alone.
Talking about gonorrhea and syphilis?
No. No. Syphilis, if you remember from an earlier episode, is the one disease the Europeans brought back from the New World. So, while they brought many diseases, they took one back with them. So, yeah, that's rough. But
that's not the point of this episode. So we're moving on.
But to give you an idea of the Spanish flu, the Dodge brothers, if you know the name, vehicles, they actually both succumbed to Spanish flu. To give you an idea of how this spread and how it hit all levels of society, how nobody was really safe or, had any kind of advantage of avoiding this. It was one of those things that it doesn't care who you are, it can get you kind of scenario.
That's funny you should say that about, diseases not caring who you are. Especially like right now with the coronavirus. It's been reported that not just these two people, but Tom Hanks and his wife, millionaires, public figures, whatever, they have it.
Right.
There was speculation that Ivanka Trump might have it.
I heard that one.
Someone in the Canadian government has it. A couple other things. So the highest of the high level people in the world have it.
Right. And it's just about the exposure. It's the people traveling. It's one of those things of like, we just mentioned, it doesn't really matter who you are because the disease treats everybody the same. You're just a host.
Right. You're just a warm body.
You're just a warm body. It's something I need right now, and then, But
if you think about it on base level, a single-celled organism, a virus, is a single-celled organism, has taken down the world. Because while you're listening to this on Monday morning, this is to the listeners, I'm sitting at home working from home, along with millions of other Americans or people in other countries. We're working from home. There are entire businesses that are completely shut down because of it.
Right, and I'm in the process of my company of having a contingency plan in place for work at home. So it's being taken very serious all over the world.
So I guess this will be the one episode that by majority is not being listened to during a commute. People will be listening to it sitting at the house working.
I think you're right.
But that brings me to what I really wanted to talk about. While these precautions with people working from home, things of that nature, I think are great. If you want to stop the spread, obviously stop interaction. That being said, this hysteria around it, the fact that the American stock market is tanking
hard,
is ridiculous. Calm the F down.
Take a breath.
Panicking gets you killed. Panicking causes problems. It's nuts.
And that's what a lot of people don't realize it, but when FDR gives his, you have nothing to fear but fear itself, that's what he's alluding to, is the fear and the panic is what will cause the most harm. Like you just said, you need to relax. You need to take a breath. You need to calm down. You need to stop buying all the toilet paper. Okay?
Yeah, that's something I really don't understand. I get clearing out the shelves of hand sanitizer, Lysol wipes, Lysol cleaning products, right, whatever. Why toilet paper?
It started off funny for a moment because in the South we have a running joke. Anytime a tornado comes through, people buy milk and bread.
Or every time we're going to get a dusting of snow.
Right. But toilet paper, like, it's just...
I don't understand. But I had to feed into the hysteria a little bit because I was like, man, me and my wife were sitting around joking about the people buying up all the toilet paper. And then I was like, wait, crap. We're down to a third, 3 rolls. We got to go get toilet paper. Hopefully all these idiots hadn't bought us out. We just want to be able to wipe our butts.
Right. It's just, but, joking aside, people like us who are younger, we have less risk with having the virus. But the panic buying of the hand sanitizers and the cleaning supplies, that puts the elderly and the very young at greater risk because now they can't have access to it. Or they have limited access to it. It's funny, the whole toilet paper thing, like, what are you going to do with that? But the cleaning supplies and the hand sanitizer, that could really make a difference in somebody's home who is more susceptible to the virus.
That's like, this morning my wife went to Dollar General to get some Lysol wipes, hoping that they got a shipment in.
They didn't.
They didn't. But we have a 3-week-old, and my wife was talking to one of the cashiers that she knows. An elderly black man heard her talking about them being out of Lysol wipes and having a newborn, and he goes out to his car, brings my wife a brand new pack of Lysol wipes, and says, "You go home and you take care of that kid." About made my wife cry in the middle of the store. She came home and told me about it. That's awesome.
Right. And I think the most important thing to remember during these trying times is, it won't kill you to be human.
Take care of yourself. Take care of your neighbors. This ain't Black Friday. You don't have to beat somebody over the head for some Lysol.
Or one of them crazy chicken sandwiches people kept getting beat up over.
Right? Just wash your hands. Don't buy up all the stuff for people to wipe their butts. And everything will be okay.
Just relax.
Calm down.
I know the media had the episode of media manipulation. It's just, if there's no greater scenario of throwing fuel on the fire kind of thing than get 24/7 coverage. You see the map of all the states that have gone red because there's been a confirmed case, and they use terms like outbreak and pandemic. And people just, you're constantly hearing it, all the negative. It causes panic. And I think at least in the United States, the media is, they're not taking responsibility for their part in this hysteria. I got a story, people are going to listen to it, boom, boom, boom.
Well, there's one thing that people don't understand about the coronavirus. It's not the coronavirus. It is a coronavirus.
Right.
It's number 19.
As the name would suggest.
SARS.
Mm-hmm.
SARS came out of China as well. It was also a coronavirus. It was like COVID-7. Don't quote me on that, but this is just a string of different upper respiratory infections. It's just like the flu. Flu's dangerous to people with compromised immune systems, the elderly, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything else. But the media wants to make you think that it's like, the T virus. Like it's a zombie outbreak coming.
Oh, Lord.
My question is, why would you want to make people panic? I know panic sells, or the old term was panic sells papers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have papers anymore, but it gets listeners, gets viewers, gets whatever.
Mm-hmm. Why
would you want to do that? Why would you want to practically shut your country down with fear?
A good way to see how people respond.
Is this a test?
But if you go back to as early as 2000, we've survived Y2K, mad cow disease, swine flu, bird flu, the Zika virus, West Nile. It was H1N1.
It was Ebola last year.
Ebola. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's about every 2 to 5 years. It seems like something new is going to destroy the world and wipe out the human race.
But this is the first time that the media has gone this far.
They have really pushed it, like as far as like you said, how far can we push this panic button?
It's a little concerning. I was watching a C-SPAN clip where the former CIA director was being questioned, and someone asked him, I believe it was a representative from California, asked him a very simple question, especially if the answer is no. It's a very simple question.
A closed-ended question, yes or no.
But the question was, is coronavirus a hoax? And he would not answer yes or no. He wouldn't answer at all. Why wouldn't you answer that? Why wouldn't you just say no?
That's a very good question.
Like, I'm not saying the coronavirus is fake.
No.
Not at all. But the hysteria behind it and the media hysteria behind it, Is it a hoax? Is it intentional? Is it to see how far you can push people, see what people will do because of fear, see how isolated you can make everyone from each other?
I'm doing a good job.
Doing a fantastic job. If this is a test run for something else, it's working out exactly how whoever it is wants it to be.
Right.
I'm not saying it is.
No,
I'm just speculating.
Well, of course, speculation. But yeah, it's one of those things of, like I was saying, every few years there's a new, virus that's going to destroy humanity. But this one, as you were alluding to, is like, why are you getting so strong behind this particular one? Like, I mean, you're controlling the world markets. You're having an enormous impact on the economy. You're affecting every citizen's day-to-day life. I mean, it's a very scary proposition to have that kind of power over the entire world just because you can stand in front of a camera and tell a story.
Think about this. Like, for people like me and you, 1, we have the capability to work from home. Mm-hmm. 2, we're salary. Mm-hmm. So we're going to make the same money regardless. Right. What if you're a person that's hourly that literally has a job that they have to be on site for? Mm-hmm. They're going to lose money. There's going to be a lot of people losing a lot of money over this. How are they going to provide for their family if they're stuck at home because you decided to freak people out over a 4% death rate?
I got family that works in the healthcare industry, and they're just completely overworked because people are in such a panic. Coming, wanting to be tested, wanting to, hypochondria is really setting in. Like, I feel feverish, I feel fatigued, my body hurts. The people are just, and it's straining the system. Like, every system is being strained right now.
And the bad part here in Mississippi is we're now starting our normal beginning of spring. Mm-hmm. Pollen is everywhere. My car is yellow.
Same.
So a lot of us are going to have things that are very similar to the symptoms of the virus.
Allergies, sinuses.
And those that are hypochondriacs or prone to be a little bit more cautious, they're possibly going to think they've got it, and it's just normal allergies because of the pollen. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Very much so.
Well, as always, we don't want you to take our opinions as facts. We don't want you to trust us too much. We're just two dudes on a microphone. We want you to come up with your own opinions, your own thoughts, your own feelings. Don't let anybody manipulate how you feel. And as always, trust but verify.